Hi there, welcome to Mesoblast's worst nightmare. I mean, Kneppy Invest, although maybe just for today, we can call this particular channel Mesoblast worst nightmare because the share price of that particular company has dropped 57% on the 4th of August. I was not planning on doing a standalone video on Mesoblast. In fact, I was planning on doing a weekly update video as I've been doing over the past month or so, with the possibility of including Mesoblast in that particular video. Now, Mesoblast was putting a trading halt on the 2nd of August, and I'll talk about the reason they were putting a trading halt in the future, with the possibility of coming out of that trading halt on the 4th of August. And there was also the possibility that the share price could have been going up 100% or dropping a fair bit on the particulars of the announcement. And that's exactly what has happened. And it's not positive for Mesoblast and its shareholders. So I'll talk about during this video why the share price of the company has dropped over 50% on the 4th of August. And I'll also talk about two valuable lessons I have learned because of what has happened to Mesoblast on the 4th of August. And thankfully, personally, for me, there was no financial cost to the lessons I have learned. Barely I got out of this one. So I was not a shareholder when they went to a trading halt. And I'll talk about, because I was a shareholder the day before, and I'll talk about why I sold out and the lessons I've learned at the end of this particular video. But first, back to Mesoblast and why the share price has dropped 57%. And to actually understand why Mesoblast share price has dropped a lot today, let's go back to 2020. So this is Mesoblast chart from the middle of 2018 to October 2020. And this 2-year period, just over 2-year period, is a beautiful period for Mesoblast shareholders if they bought in the middle of 2018 and sold in, what's the month before October? September 2020. Because in fact, the share price of this company increased from less than $1.50 in the middle of 2018 all the way up to a high of almost $5.75. So we're talking about almost four-bagger over a 2-year period. And just 2 days, 2 trading days after the company reached its all-time, maybe not all-time high, but long-term high, because the share price back in 2010-11 was significantly higher than $5.75. I think the share price got as high as $11 at one point. 2 days after the share price reached its long-term high, the company share price dropped 37%. So why was there a negative reaction from the market? So let's have a look at what caused this significant share price drop. This was this announcement was titled, Mesoblast receives complete response letter from the FDA for biologics license application for steroid refractory acute graft versus host disease in children. So Mesoblast have created this treatment for this particular disease, which I won't name again because it's so long and I don't know why they just don't have a shorter name. So that treatment was remestemcel-L. And they put in the biologics license application. They're hoping for a positive outcome from the FDA, but the FDA did say and recommend that Mesoblast conduct at least one additional randomized control study in adults and or children to provide further evidence of the effectiveness of remestemcel-L for SRAGVHD, which is a shortened version of the actual name of this disease. So this was not an absolutely negative outcome, but it was a setback for the company because it probably pushed back their plans by a few years because they had to do further studies. That's why the market didn't like it. That's why the share price dropped 37%. And then the company kept on releasing really bad announcements over the following or subsequent 3 or 4 months. And the share price dropped all the way down from that high of $5.75 all the way down to about $1. But did seem like things were moving in the right direction for Mesoblast and this particular treatment, remestemcel-L. And last time I looked, I wasn't following this company all that closely. It seemed like that there was going to be more information from the FDA being released in regards to this application of remestemcel on the 2nd of August, which actually I didn't know about. And I'll talk about that later in the video as well. But the 2nd of August was the date that a lot of shareholders of Mesoblast had circled. And then the company went into a trading halt on the 2nd of August. So let's have a look at this particular trading halt, which probably, more than likely, did cause a fair bit of excitement in shareholders, probably caused a little bit of nervousness as well, because it's not a perfect binary outcome, but it is close. Now, a binary outcome is probably the worst scenario for a company if it's bad outcome. But if it's a good outcome, it's actually really good. So there are some companies on the ASX, particularly mining exploring companies, where there is a binary outcome, and the whole future of the company is dependent on that outcome. But if it's a positive outcome, then the company might be viable for the future. But if it's a negative outcome, and I've seen this before, that's it for the company. And I have seen share prices of a company drop 90% or more because of a negative binary outcome. So it's not a true binary outcome for Mesoblast. This is not the end of the story for this company or for this treatment. And I'll talk about why in a second, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But this whole reason why they went to a training hold was a pending announcement by the company in relation to the FDA's review of its BLA resubmission for remestemcel-L for that particular disease. So again, a lot of excitement, a lot of nervousness among shareholders in anticipation of the results of this announcement and the FDA's decision. So obviously with the share price down 57%, it was not a positive announcement, but it's not completely overwhelmingly negative. And I'll talk about that in a second. So this is actually, let's go back to the announcement list. As soon as I saw the announcement release at 9:57 a.m. this morning, and usually about 10 a.m. I go maybe get my breakfast, watch a bit of TV. So I just got this announcement. As soon as I saw the title, I was like, this is not going to be positive. Update on BLA for graft versus host disease. If it was positive, they would have put it in the title of the announcement. And then when you open up the announcement, the longer version of the title, again, is not that, there's no positive there. Mesoblast receives complete response from the FDA for biologics license application for steroid refractory acute graft versus host disease in children. Nothing positive at all there. And of course, it is not positive. So the FDA has provided a complete response to the BLA resubmission for remestemcel-L for the treatment of that disease. And this is the negative bit, and requires more data to support marketing approval. To obtain the data required, Mesoblast will conduct a targeted controlled study in the highest risk adults with the greatest mortality. So they wanted more studies. Now they want an adult study. And I think a lot of shareholders are now going, well, this just keeps going. When is Mesoblast going to get this right? Now, this could be it. Maybe after this particular study, they will get FDA approval. And maybe now is the time to think about buying Mesoblast shares. But I would say that the management, well, shareholders' opinion of the management and the faith and trust in the management has taken a massive hit because of this particular announcement. And that's another reason why the share price has dropped 57%. Now, didn't go all the way through this announcement, maybe, and I didn't go to the conference call, so maybe there was more negative things in a conference call, maybe more negative things in the rest of the announcement. But the main thing is share price, or the market didn't like it, share price down 57%. So let's have a look at the updated chart. Now, share price of this company was in a beautiful downtrend from 2000. When I say beautiful, I don't mean beautiful for shareholders, because if you're going long in this company, you would have felt absolute pain unless you went short. If you went short, you would have loved 2021, 2022. But it did look like sentiment had started to shift. In fact, the share price was moving into an uptrend. So the share price low was in June last year. Share price actually fell to a low of 61 cents, but share price was moving up. We started to see higher highs, higher lows, and then just before, this is the daily chart, just before the release of this announcement on the 4th of August, just before the company went to a trading hold, share price had dropped a lot. In fact, share price had dropped from $1.40 down to less than $1.10. So we're talking about a 30-cent drop. So we're talking about 20% drop, 20% drop in share price in a fairly short period of time. Now, I won't say there was loose lips, that sort of thing, because the share price had seen that sort of volatility in the past when the share price could drop a fair bit in a fairly short period of time. And the share price did fall through a fairly strong, well, I wouldn't say strong, but a good trend line. And talk about the significance of that in a second when we look at that 1 hour chart. But the main thing is share price down to 47 cents. Not a lot of buying today, a lot of selling, massive volume. No way I would even think about trading this company today on the 4th of August. Day traders are in this. Day traders love volatility, but even the trading today, there was not much volatility. High of 55 cents, a low of 45.5 cents. So even though the share price is down a lot, during or intraday trading, not much volatility there. So I do expect day traders to get out of their positions in the next few days, volume to drop off a lot, and then we'll see what happens with the share price after that. Now, if we look at, say, the monthly chart, I'm just going to go back to see when the last time the share price was this low. And in fact, we have to go all the way back to 2007. So share price 47 cents. In fact, when this company IPO'd on the ASX back in 2004, share price a few months later did fall below 47 cents for a brief period of time. And then in 2008, April 2008, share price did get to a low of 50 cents. So this is the lowest the share price of Mesoblast has been since 2005. So we're talking about 18 year low in the share price. And I would say sentiment in this company and the opinion of shareholders on the management in this company has been absolutely destroyed because of what's happened today. But it's not the end of the story. This is just another setback for the company. But I think shareholders just fed up. The market's just fed up with these setbacks. We had one almost 3 years ago, and now another setback. Will shareholders have to wait another 3 years before FDA approval for this particular product? So on to the two important, valuable lessons I have learned because of what has happened to Mesoblast on August the 4th, 2023. First thing I should point out is I have been trading Mesoblast over the past month and a bit through my 1 hour trading strategy. This strategy is rules-based. That's very important to know. So I have a plethora of rules that I should be following. And on occasion, over the past month, I've been finding myself ignoring some of my rules, particularly when it comes to stop losses. So I have made 2 trades in Mesoblast. I won't talk about my first trade because the second trade is the important trade. So when the share price dipped back to the uptrend line, which is that upward sloping dashed line, share price hit that, and I expected the share price to bounce off the uptrend line. So I took another position in Mesoblast at $1.19.5. Now, one of my rules I have is whenever I take an initial position, I always set a stop loss, not an automatic stop loss, sort of like a manual stop loss. And I set my stop loss for Mesoblast at $1.10. And then my expectations were not met by reality. Reality had something else in store for Mesoblast, and the share price kept on falling. And then on August the 1st, in fact, in the first hour, the share price of Mesoblast went from $1.15 and fell below my stop loss at $1.10. In fact, it fell to $1.09. And I saw this happen, and I ignored my rule. I decided just to wait in the hope the share price could get back above my stop loss at $1.10. But fortunately for me, just dumb luck, the share price never got back above $1.10. And then at 2 p.m., I just said, I'm going to bite the bullet and sell out of my position. I'm going to follow my rule. And I was just fortunate that just 2 hours later, 2 trading hours later, the shares in Mesoblast were put into a trading halt. Just dumb luck. And the reason it's dumb luck comes to my second important lesson learned. So the first important lesson learned is follow my rules. Don't ignore your rules, because the whole reason you have rules there in the first place is to follow them. Because if you don't follow your rules, what's the point of having rules there in the first place? So follow your rules. Don't just decide when to ignore your rules and when to follow. First lesson. Second lesson learned comes into whether or not I should have ever been trading Mesoblast in the first place, because I was just damn lucky that I was not holding onto Mesoblast on August the 2nd. I was just dumb lucky that this trading halt didn't come out on August the 1st. There was an alternate world, alternate universe, where the trading halt came out on August the 1st when I was holding onto Mesoblast shares. And the whole point of this strategy is to limit your losses and ride your winners. And if I was holding to Mesoblast and share price fell 57%, that violates a whole reason of this or purpose of this strategy. So it comes back to the company itself and whether or not I should be trading in companies like Mesoblast. Now, I won't call Mesoblast a binary outcome company, but it's close. And for those who don't know what a binary outcome company is, just think of a mining exploring company. Drilling for oil has one project. That's all it has. It's relying on whether this project, this oil drill, finds a massive amount of oil. And sometimes they don't hit anything, or sometimes they hit nothing. I think they're called dusters or something like that. And I remember seeing this in a company maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, drilling for oil. They came out with the announcement, they hit nothing. It was a duster, share price dropped 95%. I don't want to be holding that sort of companies in this strategy because of that possible outcome. I want to limit that risk. I want to limit the risk of a potential significant drop in the share price. So I should be adding another rule to all my rules that I should not be trading these sort of companies when the share price could drop 57%. Now, in an alternate universe, the share price of Mesoblast could have risen 100% because the FDA came out with a positive outcome. Maybe they approved this treatment. That's a possibility as well. But again, on the flip side, there's that negative outcome, that negative binary outcome where the share price drops 57%. And you don't want to be owning shares in a company when it does that. So I have to rethink about the type of companies I should be trading using this 1 hour trading strategy. So that's all I have for this particular video. Things I have learned talking about Mesoblast. If you have any questions, any thoughts, you can leave those in the comment section of this video. If I didn't make sense in regards to the lessons learned, I could talk about that in another video. And the last thing I should mention is I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.